So what I would like to do with you at the beginning is I would like to give you a mudra. It's very simple. We're doing it with the right hand. I'm demonstrating with the left. So we're putting the tip of our index finger over the second digit of our thumb, which is really below the thumbnail. And yeah, does it work? Okay, super. So I just scoot back a little bit so you can see me better. And we're, after having created this mudra with our right hand, just put our hands very relaxed on our legs and then slowly arrive in a seated position. I'm just turning the camera for you so you can have a better view. And maybe you want to turn up your left hand so your left palm of your hand can be receptive. And the mudra that we're holding today is for an energetical connection of our heart, so that we have this healthy ability to distinguish and to feel our thoughts and what kind of power is in there, what kind of energy. That's our security check, our safety check, and that whenever we have feelings, that we can, as well with a reflective consciousness, as well as with an outgoing consciousness, feel and think about the emotions we're having. So I think this is right now, during the stressful time of COVID, a very important part of successful living. And the super thing is that this mudra also supports our breathing and supports us with getting prana into the body, and as well our flexibility in the wood element. And this is which is active right now in spring. And we need this flexibility for growth, which is the topic for spring. Yeah, it's true, there is a lot of things dissolving right now, but we're before Easter, so there's an apex coming. And I needed to change to upstairs because the internet was kind of weak down there, so welcome to the new setting. And try, although there was movement and the image you saw or seeing, that you can come back to the floor and take in this peace and this calm. For a second time, anchor your sankalpa, being wholehearted, living from or in a wholehearted manner with a holistic perception. And slowly, with an exhale, gently remove the tip of your fingers from each other and reunite both palms in front of your heart. Very good. Slowly inhale, very calmly. And with an exhale, bow down to your own life energy. Come down, forward, relax the neck. And feel that through your hands, either when you're in Anjali, through the pinkies or through the palm of your hands, can really let your energy flow into the earth. And then activate your lower belly, draw in Uddiyana Bani, and slowly come back up to sitting. Very good. And we're reuniting with an exhale when you're back. Very good. So the first pose, YIN pose we're doing is caterpillar. So I want you to stay or come into Dandasana in a seated position, your legs straight or supported with a pillow. So if you have a big bolster that you want to use for this pose to have it a little bit more cozy and maybe work with really relaxing the head, I want you to put this bolster or pillow, as I do here, in between your legs and maybe stay up a little bit for the beginning today So the back doesn't have to be straight today, but we can listen within in a supported manner. And if you need more for your neck to feel comfortable, just feel free to use your hands and support your forehead. Your elbows are comfortable with apart from each other, so you really feel that your head is supported nicely. And then I would like you to feel that the bolster is actually a good feedback for your belly and for your chest. And it also gives you a little bit of support. So maybe you can feel the inhale going to the back, feeling the lower back and the back of the heart. And then with an exhale, you can feel that you're sinking down into the bolster. And I want you, for the beginning, to feel really nicely supported and totally stay in this gentle breath wave and observe if it's possible that you're slowly transferring your weight from the upper body and the shoulders and the neck into the floor. And because Yin has so much to do with trying to, or doing our best to accept everything that's here right now and gain clarity about what it's actually all about, I invite you to probably feel or get into contact with where you're standing this week. And a lot of us just notice intuitively. And if it's possible, if we can, with our own presence and intention, connect to these parts of us. Maybe it's the inner child or the parts that are insecure or scared or unnerved, to embrace them and to hold us with a very motherly, loving energy, taking care of ourselves, so that the being held that we feel underneath you becomes our own presence of awareness, which we want to cultivate when we are with ourselves right now. And I invite you to still stay here for 2 minutes. I'm starting the timer. It's a little bit loud. And observe while you're with yourself and your loving presence that's surrounding you. If the breath changes by itself over time, unfolds a little bit more. Exactly. Try, as you're in your inside world, to sense yourself. And also keep the senses open to the outside. So maybe you're hearing some sounds of the birds outside, or something that reminds you that nature is alive right now, so that we also can take something with us of this natural energy outside as we're in Yin. And we still have approximately half a minute. See if you can perceive from the inside out if there's something opening. Maybe it's in your consciousness, in your awareness, maybe it's in the body. If everything can stay relaxed to the best of your abilities. And where maybe there is in your consciousness a realization of where there's still tension in the body, and we can free it with the breathing, with our breath. Very good. And slowly stay, even if you're hearing the end gong of the timer, and really feel the end of exhalation. And with a very, very relaxed neck, you come back up with an inhale to a seated position. Super beautiful. And with an exhale, you can feel that the shoulders are dropping again. We can remove our pillow or bolster and just scoot a little bit forward and then come back and down. Maybe if you want to support your head. I'm readjusting the camera in a moment. And your legs in Baddha Konasana position, so the feet are together and the knees are apart. And feel where you would like to place your hands so that your body senses that you're still in a good contact with yourself and your body. And observe if the breath and the breathing maybe has changed from the beginning of the class, or if you were in good contact with your breath during the previous asana of caterpillar, if you could continue this deep breathing and enjoy it in a calm manner for arriving properly in our body for approximately 1 minute. So if it's a challenge to really find this calm and silent being today, I invite you to really consciously connect with the floor. And as you breathe, really go into the connection to the floor. Last 20 seconds in a rest position, sensing, cultivating the felt sense. And again, feel the breath as a source for arriving in the present moment. And as a source for being present with ourselves. And then from here, with the knees slightly apart, the feet together, legs in Baddha Konasana, I invite you to use your hands for turning your legs back up, knees pointing to the ceiling. And our feet can regain the contact to the floor, that we give ourselves permission to roll the shoulders back to unfold the shoulders and the arms, to reconnect with our breath, so that I'm not giving you any advice or instruction where you are in your breathing, but that you can feel your own connection to your own breathing. So it's really an unfolding that comes from within. And then as the last drop of breath has been exhaled, with an inhale, slowly come into a shoulder bridge. Maybe with an exhale, feel the grounding of your feet, the elongation of the spine, the tailbone that draws to the knees, and then slowly start with slight movements from the right to the left with your pelvis. So we're just balancing our pelvis from right to left, and maybe our weight shifts on our feet from the medial to the lateral sides. And maybe you can feel this slight stimulation in this bridge from your pelvic crest to your lower spine, your lumbar spine. And our energy right now is at L3, L4. And maybe we can remind ourselves to gather the energies of the beginning of the year, and despite the disruption of COVID, to draw this intention back into our body, up the spine, into the space, so we can bring this potential up. And to remember this energy, to bring it back into this current time. And maybe the energy ascends higher into the thorax, to the vertebrae 11 and 12. And we can inhale here, and then with an exhale, really keep the collarbones wide, and in rhythm with your own breathing, in awareness with your own breathing, slowly roll down your spine, so you're sensing these contact points of the vertebrae or the spaces besides the vertebrae as you roll down on these two solid tracks, arriving on your pelvis. And as you touch down the pelvis, I want you to reconnect to the beginning of the year, how you've aligned, where you would want it to align yourself, and to send this energy up over the spine towards the backside of your heart. And still be here for 3 long deep breaths, and hold in both pillars of your spine or next to your spine this connection to the moment of now, to the beginning of the year. We're here for 1, 2, if the contact to the floor is again sensible and trackable, maybe there's more peace and calm entering your system. And 3. Very good. And then feel how you are right now. And if you prefer to turn to the side and in this fashion come back to sitting, or if you want to come to Abdominal, both hands on your lower legs, and just gather a little momentum for rocking back up through this middle line. And however you have chosen to come back up, we meet on hands and knees and go into frog pose by bringing our knees apart a lot further than our hips. And I invite you for this I will turn around to flex the feet, and the lower legs are parallel to the outer edges of your mat. Or this depends on your acetabulum and the ability of your femurs to rotate in your acetabulum, if you want to put the feet together with heels together. And we really want to go into the adductor connection, so we can activate this liver energy for growth in our body. So, however it's suitable for you to position yourself with your feet, I would want you to become conscious if you are in a banana back, where you are in this rounded back, or if you're in a straight spine. So you can feel just how you position your spine and what kind of movement your pelvis makes when you sit back, and want to play with this extension of the lumbar spine or this straight lumbar spine, so that you can sense if there is any space opening in your hips, if you are modifying your lower back. And once you've found this, I want you to flow upward towards your shoulder or your shoulders, and really find what you're doing with your shoulders, if there's any tension in them, and if you want to release this tension. And feel free to really play with the position of your spine and how you're working it. But my wish for you is that the biggest stimulation in this pose is in your inside legs, inside upper legs, in the adductor line, so that we can activate the liver meridian here. Because we really deliberately want to go into an activation that slightly stresses us, and practice to stay with this very calmly and centered, and with a calm breath, so that when we have a challenge, we still can have capacity to experiment and to stay in movement. And maybe we can reach a state of awareness or consciousness where we can feel everything all at once and still have a choice. The slight stress, our ability to adapt our own emotional state of consciousness, if we can be present with ourselves, and if we can really very consciously also add our connection to life by being aware of our breath. It's not that we're trying to force anything by doing this, but that we want to create a network and cultivate this potential that we're practicing right now, so we can reactivate it in our life whenever we need it. See if the hands are relaxed, even if you have the fingers interlaced, if the mouth can be relaxed. The forehead can relax to the best of your abilities. Feel if your mental body or mind is waving. Sometimes there are these flashes coming where we get or become aware of something or just think of something else, and we always have to change to come back and to be again with us right now. So we have this ability to wander and be aware of the wandering, but also to come back. So we cultivate again this capacity for off the mat living. And then see if the body wants to take a deep breath. And then we slowly pull ourselves forward. This is this moment of our practice. And then come from our forearms to our hands. Maybe you want to roll the shoulders back one more time. And slowly push back up. Wait for a moment. And then slowly one hand can put a little bit more push into the floor. I'm letting my toes drop and I'm pulling myself over to your right side so I can just put the knees a little bit closer together without stressing the tissue too much. And then either come through the center line, shins crossed or over the side to Supta position. And we're going into an internal rotation just for balancing out our hips so our feet can really wander apart and be on the floor next to our edges of the mat and our knees draw together. And we're activating now the outside of our hips. So maybe we can feel the external rotators deep within our hips stretching. Maybe we can find the gallbladder line on the outside of our hips and upper legs, thighs. You just give us a few moments, taking a breather to balance these areas of our body. And through this balance that we're giving our body by practicing, again, sense that you're breathing, especially if you reach the top of your inhale when we're really full. So we can feel at the back of our body, the shoulders, maybe the back side of our heart, and connect it to the base of the skull. Maybe you're even feeling your inhalation going up until it reaches the ground. And with an exhale, we can release and feel this falling into the floor. So we want to add to our exercise a practice of the mat. so that we can unite the heart and the brain, especially when we're growing and when things are changing. And I let you rest here for approximately 1 more minute. Start the timer. And see if it's possible that you really slow down your breath so that you can really fill yourself up what you already know in the front, to the side, and in the back. And if the jaw is still released. Last 10. And then give yourself permission that probably the feet first walk back, and the knee automatically just spread apart by moving in this way. And we can stay for a moment with bent legs. And then slowly with an inhale, lift our right bent leg and put our right ankle over our left bent leg. And maybe the right foot can really release and relax, so it's not flexed, but soft. And then with the next inhale, we can lift off the left bent leg towards the chest and see how far we can go without using the arms. Exhaling, relaxing the shoulders. And maybe even the left foot relaxes completely. And then we slowly push ourselves or draw the left knee or leg closer. And then we stay here for 3 long deep breaths, really letting the arms go, not activating this part of our body or of our field or awareness of consciousness. And then from this non-acting, slowly coming back. I hope you still see me. Fine. Left foot slowly descends onto the floor. The right leg may release. And with the next exhale, we're taking a hold of our lower leg and can mobilize our right ankle just a little bit. Shoulders stay grounded. And then maybe with the right leg bend, we can seize this moment of our right ankle and go into the back side of our right leg. Let's check if the neck can really stay and be long, and find 3 long deep breaths. And I invite you that you again with your own breath, maybe closing your eyes, and again fill yourself up from the inside out. And let's see how the body reacts to this. 3. Awesome. And then maybe you want to feel that you're drawing the sit bones together, so we can go more into the outside of our right leg, more in a slight neutral or external rotation. And then slowly let's let go of the leg, straightening it out, closing the eyes, bringing the left one to the right, and really dive into our body fields. Maybe you want to just notice both sides and how they feel. If one side feels wider, more open, so that we not only feel this in our body from our nervous system, but maybe we can slowly start also to feel this beyond the boundaries of our body in the space around us, how it feels. And see if this aids you in arriving. We're still here for 3. Feel that you're really held by the floor. And that our fine perception, the fine tuning of our perception, can help us off the mat for other things that we're working on or that we have to deal with. Awesome. And then from here, slowly find that you can move the shoulders just a little bit, that the head may move. Maybe this very nice heaviness can stay. We're bending our right leg with an inhale, with an exhale. The left one comes to it. We can stay here for a little while, can feel the backside of our heart, the head supported. And then very released and relaxed in our whole body, change sides, lifting off the bent left leg with an inhale, with an exhale, putting our left ankle over our right thigh. The left knee may drop without losing the squaring of your pelvis. The jaw is released, the arms are heavy and released on the floor. And we're just trying to really only activate the lower end of our body, the lower part of our body, the upper body and arms and the head stay completely released. We can draw the right leg further towards our nose. Maybe the left foot releases, maybe the right foot releases completely, and we see if we can go into an opening without activating the upper body. No pain in the buttocks. We're here for 3, 1. Left foot is totally relaxed, no reaching through the foot. 2, so that our fascial compartments have enough space, there's no tension that we create. 3. See if the body releases, if there's slight more pressure from your right leg. And with an exhale, slowly release the right leg, the right foot comes to the floor. We feel how the right groin lets go when our right foot touches, releasing our left leg from our right. Left leg comes closer a little bit, and we can grab our lower leg, integrate the shoulders, drop them towards the pelvis. And we can try if we can still feel our right foot on the floor while we're circling and mobilizing our left ankle. Maybe both things can stay here in our consciousness, kind of multitasking, or shifting from one to the next. And then maybe adding if there's still capacity where we are in our breathing. So there are like 3 processes that we're aware of at the same time. And then maybe this mobilization of the left ankle may cease. And we can add a little bit more of stress deliberately by pulling the leg closer if that's fine for your knee. And we can just check if we can stay relaxed with this added stress. Feel free to reset your hands on your leg. Feel free to check if your shoulders are still released. And we're still here for 3 long deep breaths. Experiment with your sit bones, drawing together or having them come apart. Maybe there's still some sounds from the outside, from nature that you can hear, some birds. So when we are anchored very well inside, that we're still open to the outside, we inhale. And with an exhale, we're slowly releasing our hands. And the leg may very slowly descend, maybe straightened while the right leg is still bent. And then as soon as the left leg touches, we can eat the right one. Super. Add the right one. And If we bring our consciousness back in our body field, if we feel that we energetically have unfolded equally on the right and on the left, and have created a nice foundation for our lower back and our back in general, so that our back really has this nice balanced space of our legs to release. And I invite you for the 1 minute that we're still resting here, that you really send the breath back and work with the feedback from the floor. See as you're breathing if the right and left side of your spine, the muscles there next to the spine, can unfold equally as you breathe, and keep the consciousness within, sensing what else can be relaxed, or probably realizing when is the point of overload. And maybe I can experiment with shifting my consciousness and see if my internal space, my capacity to notice, to be aware, can expand. And I don't have to react to everything immediately. And when the hands are next to you on the floor, again, bring them up and touch the lower side of your belly. Feel that you're placing yourself on your back, that the collarbones are wide, and that you can start with an exhale to very gently activate your center, so that we can feel when we exhale that maybe the belly is sinking away from your hands and there is more tension coming into your belly. And with an inhale, we can let go of that. And with an exhale, we can go into this activation. And in this element, this TCM element of wood, where there's all about growth and renewal, I want you to pulse with your creative center, so that with this gentle pumping of Uddiyana, we're activating the energy and opening up the roots of Mula, where we've been around Christmas time, maybe with our wishes and desires and hopes for the new year. And that we pull it up into the body, into the spine, by this gentle pumping of our belly, so that there can be flow again. With an inhale, this releasing, flowing. With an exhale, this drawing in and up, as if you would pull a syringe, and with an exhale, it just flows into the body again. And with an inhale, it releases. And let's stay with this very gentle. No pressure, no force, for 3, 1. Next is released. Forehead relaxed. 2. Soft gaze to the outside, or eyes closed, all well. And 3. Awesome. And then slowly let go of the activation. Maybe you can feel that your belly got a little bit warmer underneath your hands. Just notice where there's your heart. Where's your heart? Where's your head? If there's more space. And then slowly allow the hands to release, to bend one leg, then the other. And then decide if you want to come up through center or over the side. Awesome. And then from here, I show you what you're doing. And you just check if that's working for you. So we're doing it with the left leg in the back, and feel free to pad up your right leg. We're starting in Pigeon. And with an inhale, we can come more onto the floor or onto the pillow. And with an exhale, we go into half butterfly or Chandrashasana. We come up with an inhale. With an exhale, we can set the hands and come back into swan or pigeon. And then with an inhale, we can rotate. And with an exhale, go back into the half butterfly. And I'm doing this with you. So we're starting with the left leg in front of us. So the left leg normally just pulls out a little bit in external rotation. And you're just checking that you're really seated comfortably, that you're well padded, maybe also in the ankle and the knee, around the hips. So we're first pivoting onto the left sit bone, then the left foot comes with it, and we're pulling or coming over our right leg. And see if you're here. It's a little bit difficult in the beginning because the movement is more in focus. Whatever can release. So we can, for 1 or 2 breath cycles, stay here. So we're still in a moving and being in a calm way. Circling the shoulders, being connected to our creative center so the body realizes, oh, there's someone home. And we're coming back, going up with an inhale, setting the hands, releasing the shoulders, and coming with the exhale into swan. And slowly walk forward. And again in this change, arrive, releasing the shoulders, releasing the neck. And then regain connection to our breath if that has been lost for 1 or 2 breath cycles. 1. See if anything else has tensed up and if we can relax it. And 2. And then let's check if we can come back into our center so the head can release. With an inhale, flow back up. Really take your time. It's also okay if it's 2 breaths. And maybe with eyes opened or closed, we shift to our right leg and come into half butterfly. And see, can we find a reset? Can we feel that we are still with us and that we can let go? And give us some time for 2 breaths. Head relaxes and releases, shoulder relax and release. 2. Very good. And the last time, let's find ourselves here, gather. We come with an inhale, back up to sitting. And with an exhale, last time, let's turn forward into pigeon and come down on the floor. We are in a different direction. We are adaptive. We are present. And we are connected with ourselves and with the past. Again, allow the breath to really flow. What can relax? And we're here for 5 long deep breaths. So that we can feel that we connect the free backside of our heart with our neck. 1. That it's not about perfection, but about loving connection. 2. It's about this being with us in a really way that we walk with us internally. 3. See if the body by itself opens. 4. How far our inner landscape expands, our inner rooms want to open. 5. If the hands are still passive and relaxed. And then slowly I invite you to really allow the head to stay relaxed, to find yourself at center, and then support yourself with your hands. Slowly ascend onto one hand, with the exhale onto the other, to push yourself up so that the left leg can be free. And we're arriving onto hands and knees. I'm opening my knees a little bit wider than hip width apart. And we're sitting back down in child's pose. Feel free to use a bolster. Feel free to pad up your knees. Whatever suits you to release and relax. And we're breathing, feeling the floor. So that we can feel the shoulders are opening up. The backside of the heart opens. And we're again in this smaller, calm position. Backside of the heart connected to the base of the skull. Free exchange. And maybe as we're breathing, allowing the whole danda, the whole spine to activate in this slow, aware spinal wave. So that this whole year of 2020 can consist of a inner spiritual continuity in our process of realization or awareness, of discovery. And then wait until you're arriving in your own time, exhaling. And then slowly with an inhale, come back up from balasana or child's pose onto our lower arms and then hands. And then maybe the legs can straighten. And we're arriving on our forearms for Sphinx position. Shoulders are directly over our elbows. And let's stay here for a little while and give yourself time to think if your yoga belt is really, really far away or if it's close by. But let's stay here for a moment in Sphinx and really find those wide collarbones. And if you needed to get up or move around to find your belts, just in case you need it, let's just take some time to arrive in this pose again, in Sphinx pose. Let the head release. Feel that you're pushing the floor away just slightly and the legs are really, really heavy. And we're focusing on our breathing, that the inhalation really flows under our collarbones. And maybe at the same time notice our contact to the floor, through our hands. And maybe even the contact of our body to the floor underneath our pelvis. And if maybe you want to notice if over time we can all notice all three things at the same time. And then as we observe, probably also realizing if our own mental space is changing and how it changes. So that our spotlight of consciousness is still the same capacity, but it gets wider. And we're still here for 3. 1. And we're still, or again, practicing this on the mat for off the mat 2. And 3. Awesome. And then I invite you to let this go for a moment so that we can move. If you can hold this, you're awesome. So let's change to our left forearm being parallel to the front side of the mat. Bend the right knee just a little bit. The left shoulder is really well anchored to the hip. See if you can take a hold of your right foot with your right hand, and maybe you can stay here, or maybe you can work a little bit deeper so your elbow comes around the top of your right foot. If there's any pain in whatever position I just demonstrated, use the belt. So no pain in the shoulders are free. And then as we slowly take a hold, either with a belt or our hand or elbow, let's anchor our shoulders to the back and just pull our leg closer into a pikasana variation. And then stay here. You can deepen the pose by pulling the right knee away from your hip. Then you're getting into the more upper portions of the front line of the leg and the hip. And you see, as we're breathing here, whatever you can notice at the same time without tensing up. Hand can really be relaxed, the right one. And last breath. Awesome. And then slowly from here, allow the right foot to drop into the belt, your hand, your elbow. Exhale. Allow the left forearm to become parallel again. Allow the right leg to descend and just relax on your belly. Elbows to the outside, your forehead resting on the back sides of your hands. And feel diagonally into your body. So maybe the right foot, the right thigh in front, the left shoulder. And with your attention, come into this diagonal line. Left elbow, left shoulder, over the back, to the right hip. And just compare one side of the X from the left shoulder going to the right foot to the other side of the X from the right shoulder to the left foot. And maybe for some of you, if you're comparing the right side, lower side of your body to your left side, you feel that the right side is unfolded. Or maybe you notice that as you're resting here, that there's some balance already happening in your pranamaya kosha, in your energy, in and around the body. So maybe you just want to listen to what's happening and realize whatever you're noticing already. Let's see if we can still stay relaxed. And as we breathe, we can maybe feel that we have a connection from our hearts to our brain. Also connect our heart to this front lobe of our brain, the cortex, where our intellectual processes happen, and connect it to the breath. And we're still here for 3 long deep breaths now. 1. 2. Neck releases. 3. Allow that when we're releasing, that the head is not leading the way, is still relaxed, our shoulders are still Or again, anchoring to the pelvis, and we maybe arrive in our creative center so the body knows somebody's home, and the head releases. We push back up on our forearms for our instincts. If you need to belt, make sure you have it for the other side. And we're again at first arriving in the pose. See how we can create more space for our lungs, for our heart, for our ventral vagus system. And can really feel this unfolding for our hearts. And if there's more freedom in the body and probably more calm, that our consciousness can really sink into the body. We can use our body and the floor as tangible feedback for our breathing. So that our consciousness can embrace and encompass. If we can perceive this in our body as we're doing so, like a cloud of perception data, and then the head can release. And we see if we can keep the space that we just worked on when we are starting to move and pivoting on our right elbow so that the right forearm is in front, in parallel to the front edge of the mat. We can bend the left leg, see that there's enough space, that your left knee feels comfortable. We can reach back either with the hand or using the belts. Wait for a moment so we can arrive before we pull the foot closer. And maybe we stay there with the belt or the hands. Maybe we go deeper and letting the foot slide into our elbow. Maybe we keep the right elbow and forearm parallel to the mat. Maybe we point our fingers towards the front edge of the mat. We're slowly entering a more stressful activation, pulling the foot closer. And see, do I have to release a little bit for staying present and keeping this internal awareness space of perception and the space in the body, or do I go deeper or release? So really fine tune according to your own needs. And if we can feel a lot of things all at once, maybe the floor, maybe the stressor itself, maybe the breathing, what we notice, maybe in our face, what tenses up, if we can reset it or set it back to neutral as we relax. Last breath here, we're at 5. Super. And then again, leave the head really free and relaxed. We can draw ourselves up a little bit for back bend by pushing the left foot into the belt or into the elbow or into the hand. The hand can release from the foot. And we return back down, lying on our belly, relaxing, allow the unfolding to happen. The forearms to release, elbows to the side, forehead on, the back sides of your hands. Maybe you want to flex your feet, toes pointing and touching the floor. Toes can walk towards your pelvis to get a little bit more tension into the back and front side of your leg. And maybe you want to just stay here and enjoy the tension. Maybe you want to go into slow movements by pulling the heels away from the skull, and then maybe go into the other direction as if you would come into a tiptoe position as you lie on your belly. And feel this drawing and flossing movement as you're on your belly. And we can Time this with our inhale and exhale to our liking, so we can connect earth element to ether element from the soles of our feet to the crown. And then connect both. When we almost as if we would do in ballet, as we go into a releve, do this here lying on the floor. The shoulders and collarbones are still wide and the jaw is released. And we're still here for 2 long deep breaths. 1, belly is really, really, really relaxed. And 2. And if the body just wants to take a deeper breath, allow it to do it. Neck is released. And slowly we return and release our feet and our legs. Our feet returning from flags into points. Both hands can come underneath our shoulders, the shoulders ground, the elbows pull back. We're probably coming into our creative center, so our lumbar spine is supported as we come back up onto hands and knees. And walk forward a little bit with our knees. I'm turning around so you can see me a little bit better. Sorry for the light. And I can already see tomorrow's full moon, so let me pass this energy on to you. And we're going into the same pendulation, titration of different poses that we did before. So we're working with the right leg now in Pigeon pose or swan. Our left leg works back in a straight way. You can always pad up your right ankle, your right knee, your right hip, your left knee, whatever you need. Blankets, a sweater that's rolled up. And we're doing the same thing as before. So we're pivoting on the right hip and going into half butterfly fly or Chandrashasana to over our left leg, and I'm just aiding us with a little bit of light. And I invite you to maybe stay in Chandrashasana or half butterfly, where the right leg is bent and the left leg is straight. And we slowly go back with both hands on the floor, pivoting on our right hip and coming into the swan or pigeon, and see whatever wants to relax. If we can mobilize the spine with our breath. Hands are super relaxed for 1 and 2. And then let's see if we go back into moving, if we can support ourselves, drawing the navel slightly to the spine to support our movement. Somebody's at home, we're pivoting over the right hip. The right foot may wander and aid us to change position. And we're coming into Chandrashasana over our left leg. And whenever we're arriving, we can just check whatever wants to relax. If there's still tension, if we can let it go. And then arriving in this pose here and train our consciousness to whatever we can realize and notice at the same time. Maybe even govern that with the knowledge, whatever we are practicing right now, that we have this neurological structure for other stuff when we're off the mat. Let's relax the head, slowly ascend with an inhale. Awesome. And with an exhale, we're shifting to the other side, going into pigeon or swan, so that we slowly can arrive here. on our lower arms, hands. Slight stressor for the right hip outside, no pain. Arriving, pulsing, and here for 2. Maybe you want to shift from the left to the right. See that you can readjust your weight on the floor to give yourself a little massage. And can slowly gather in the lower belly, support ourselves. Inhale one hand, exhale the other. We're once changing again onto our right buttock. Allow also to use the left foot from the medial side of the foot to the outside of the foot. And we're coming into half butterfly. See that as you're going over, you maybe want to shift from the right to the left. So you can really work through the left leg. Maybe the arms can release all tension. Maybe you're shifting, feeling of the contacts to the floor of our breath. And then slowly with this, come back up again. And see whatever we can feel in this rebound. Inhale while we're up and exhale, finding our own groove. Or literally like our neurological connections. And slowly flow down into swan or pigeon. And everything can relax. And maybe realizing or reminding ourselves that with practice we can create structure, arriving, sensing the stressors, seizing them. And in these outside times when there's a lot shifting, as right now, March 2020 or April, your COVID time, to recreate new structures in our thinking, in our perception. Let's find the breath pulse, arriving at center. Allow the head to release. Notice that you're still connected to your breath, to your heart, your safety net. And the head releases in your own time, with your own rhythm of breath. Slowly come back up with an inhale. And with an exhale, we're shifting onto our right hip. Can adjust, walk back. Can help our left leg lift it up and off the floor. And come with both feet in front of us into Ardha Konasana position. So our outer edges of the feet are on the floor. We are not forcing ourselves to go forward. I would really like for us to hold your feet and maybe to rock from left to right so that we can really feel both sit bones on the floor, allowing the legs to release wherever they want to. And you can stay with the shifting if this feels good for you. And then I want you to feel that with an inhale you can pull your hands that are resting underneath your feet up towards the nose and really draw the spine up by this action. And there's no pain in the knees. So maybe you can draw the knees a little bit closer to the floor without creating any pain in them. The sternum may lift. And we're creating a little bit more tension into the groin area. And the head may release. The shoulders are being drawn towards our hips. We can really push also into the floor to lift ourselves further up, elongating the spine. And maybe we can feel also our pelvic floor, the inside of our legs, the breath really going up to the top of our shoulders, to the collarbones. We're still here for 2, 1. And 2. Very good. And then slowly feel that you first release the elbows, bending them. Then the tension can come off the knees as we let them come up. Can use our arms, setting them to the side. And slowly come into a seated position. See when you're releasing your hands and your arms on your thighs, on your knees, if the entire shoulder girdle and also your arms feel differently to before, or feel different than before. Sense how the front side of your body feels. And maybe also what you can feel on your back side, in the back itself. Is there still tension? If you can, just swing with our attention in between the front line and the back line. And maybe you will feel that when we're doing this, that there is this sense of this gentle embrace, this warm embrace of our Sushumna, of our spine. And then sense if it's possible for you that you're also coming from the right and the left sides, and feel both sides of your body, the right side of your waist, maybe the unfolding of the back, the left side of your torso, also the unfolding of this side of the body. And if we're getting closer, we're maybe arriving at the outer edges of Sushumna, our spine. And if you can feel that both polarities, almost like in a pulse, not necessarily in a crossing, more in a pulse, getting closer to each other. And that what both signs are representing, the sun and the moon, or the more male energies of the pioneering, going into the outside world, exploring, and the lunar side of going within, accepting, emotional perception, the depth of our journey. Not only the effect on the outside, that both things, both polarities, both symbols, both qualities can align and come closer, unify. And that in our hearts there is, also in our chakras in general, there are those nice contact points from earth or from our reality that we're living day in, day out, to our hearts and what we realize there. And in our forehead, what we realize on an intellectual and also on a transpersonal level. Systemic integration. And then I wish for you that maybe the idea can be created or anchored that no matter what outer structures are changing, we still have the chance to make the decision that we do our best every moment to direct ourselves and to have this firm decision that our journey from the past to the future in a constructive manner, an expansion and discovery on the outside, and a deepening of our feeling on the inside, that this can go on with every breath as long as we live. And in such a depth and meaning that it still can fulfill us as a life worth living, a fulfilled life. And with this, I invite you for the last couple of breaths to come into our mudra, where we place the tip of our index finger onto the second digit of our thumbs or our thumb. I hope you still remember. To feel that we're inviting both tires of heart and mind to be integrated, to be balanced, to be active. I invite you to feel again gratitude, maybe also for your social circles, and that you have the ability to explore everything that brings joy to you, and also to allow others to do this for themselves in their own circle of interest and in their own manner. I also want to remind you to always voice your opinion, voice your thoughts. So where you feel secure expressing yourself, so that we give ourselves permission to really be an individual that explores his or her own path. And with this, I invite you to slowly release your mudra, maybe to come with your hands to your hearts, to thank your source of life, however you understand it. And that with this connection, there's also connection happening in all the people that are connected to you. Inhale here one more time. And with an exhale, slowly release your hands, come into Namaste, and to bow to your own life energy that we all share. Come into Dhyana Bandha, activate lower belly, your center. Lift it up, inhale, and with an exhale, slowly come back up to a seated position. And with this, I come closer and tell you thank you so much for practicing.